I offered to pay for my daughter's entire wedding. I'm talking everything. But she betrayed me and my wife, and I'm not going to pay for a cent anymore. Here's exactly what happened. My wife made her wedding dress with her mother. It was very sentimental to her, and she was very proud of it. It was simple but freaking gorgeous. She's always said she would love for our kids to wear her dress at their wedding. We have 3 daughters, 34, 30, and 25, and one son who's 28. My wife made it known that the dress was not to be altered, except to just be taken in and kept so it could be reworn. Our youngest daughter did not wear it. Our daughter-in-law wore it to the reception, and our son held it up against him for some pre-wedding bridal pictures so he wasn't left out. He totally rocked it. Oldest daughter wore it for her wedding. We've offered some financial contributions to all children towards either school, a wedding, or a house down payment. Olivia has asked for help paying for her wedding. The wedding is in the beginning of August. A few months ago, Olivia asked my wife if she could use the dress for her wedding. My wife gave her the dress so Olivia could get it fitted with plenty of time. Tuesday, Olivia asked me to go with her to pay some vendors. One of the stops was the tailor shop for a final fitting and to pay the seamstress. Olivia was really nervous, and I figured it was just usual pre-wedding jitters and excitement. The dress Olivia came out in was not at all her mother's dress. It was a completely different dress with parts of her mother's gown added to it. She took the straps, the sash, the train, and the embroidered top skirt and had it added to this new dress. I was befuddled for a bit and then asked what the hell this was. Olivia's reasoning was that she was the last of our kids to get married, and there wasn't anyone else to wear it, and she made sure to instruct that they keep the original dress to be returned to her. I told her that's not the same and she knows it, and the dress was never hers to do what she wanted. I asked the seamstress for the rest of my wife's dress and had Olivia tell my wife in person what she's done. My wife was devastated. I've since canceled the payments I made that day and told her I won't be paying another cent for her wedding. She and her fiancé can figure it out. Our youngest daughter thinks I've gone overboard, knowing Olivia planned her wedding with our help in mind, and without it, she can't finish paying for everything. Olivia's future in-laws also agree they can't afford to help and suggested I should pay. And then we just go low contact with Olivia. I told them both that Olivia took something irreplaceable from her mother for her own vanity. I know that we originally offered help with the wedding, but I think Olivia's actions warrant canceling the offer. Am I the a-hole? And a quick edit. Thank you everyone for responses. My wife and I will look after more tomorrow and discuss the subject further. Just want to address a misconception. We've not gone low or no contact with Olivia. Her in-laws suggested it, and that's insane. My wife's initial reaction to finding out Tuesday was to not go to the wedding at all. That was said in anger and not a done deal. It'd probably depend a lot on Olivia's handling until then as well. Taking her dress she paid for would hurt our relationship with her just as much as not paying for anything else. Which is why we are discussing our options and skimming comments for things that we have not thought of and are doable. Okay, here's the update. My wife and I are reading as many comments as we can. She does appreciate the concern and support. For those saying the dress would not be worn again anyways, she has this to say. It's not about whether or not it'll be worn again, it's none of my children asked to wear it. I still would keep the dress for me. My mother taught me everything I know about sewing. We spent months picking out fabrics and doing trial and error on practice dresses as we made mine. It was mine. It was my only prized possession that held incredible memories for me. I've thought of having it put in my casket with me because, well, once I'm gone, the person it mattered to is gone. However, I would have it worn again. Our 40th anniversary's in a couple of years, and I was very much looking forward to recreating our photos. It may seem like I'm choosing my dress over my daughter. I'm not. It is her deceit, indifference, and her blatant lack of remorse that I'm most hurt by and having a hard time with. It's the underhanded way she thought to address the issue. It's the fact she will not apologize and have a conversation with me, but is only worried about the rest of her wedding items being paid for, and pinning it until after her honeymoon. I did not raise her to be like this. I would have loved to help make her decisions for the dress she picked out, if she asked, and she knows this. I've never denied her help in her life, nor has our help come with conditions. Today, we'll take my wife's dress to the seamstress, and has the Franken dress to see what can be repaired. My wife has said that sash and train are most likely lost, and the fabric of the gown was cut, and the seams undone properly. Paraphrasing here, not up into this sewing lingo. Unfortunately, even if it can be restored or parts of it, Olivia is currently not wanting to give up the dress after the wedding. She wants to keep hers and is imploring her mother to understand, since she kept her wedding dress for so long. We don't want to lose our relationship with our daughter, but we both agree there needs to be consequences, and there isn't really any moving forward if Olivia is not willing to budge on anything. I think the daughter was incredibly disrespectful in this story. The fact that she just clearly doesn't understand what an heirloom is so crazy to me. Yes, she's the a-hole. I was reading the comments from the original thread, and a seamstress posted and said the fact that she basically just ripped the pieces apart, there was a way to do it so she could have kept all the pieces intact and still be able to recover them. However, this is not what she did. That's why I think she's the ultimate a-hole. Our next story, guys, is a story of a wedding party where OP's husband's not invited. So, what does OP do? She says she's not coming. Guys, drop your thoughts down below, click that like button, here comes today's next story. I've been dating my fiance for 10 years, and we're expecting a baby which is due in March. We'll elope before the baby arrives for legal reasons, but we'll do it in January, so we'll be able to organize a small party for family and close friends. No more than 20 people. My best friend and her future husband will be invited though. So, straight to the point. My best friend's getting married in a month. She's been with her fiancé for a year and they got engaged within 6 months. Personally, that's too rushed in my opinion, but it's her life, so if she believes this is the right man, then it's her decision. Once they got engaged around April, she asked me to be her maid of honor. She then started telling me that plans about how she plans on having a huge celebration with 200 plus guests. Vaccination rates are very high in my country and most restrictions are eased since cases are also very low. Naturally, I assumed my fiancé would be invited. My best friend has known him for 10 years, and they're also friendly. Most of our friends are married, so their spouses get an automatic invite. I assumed my fiancé would be invited too, but my BFF decided to notify me that he's not invited. Literally yesterday, during a chat we had, I told her about the suit my fiancé bought. She told me, quote, I never told you he's invited though. I asked her what she meant by that. She said that only married and long-term couples are invited to the wedding. I reminded her I'm engaged to that man. We're expecting a kid together and I've been with him for 10 years. While we're also planning to get eloped in a few months. She objected and said she did not invite him because she doesn't see our relationship as valid if it took us so long to make our relationship legal. And how, if we've been waiting 10 years to take the next step, then our relationship bond is probably not that strong. I told her that's not her decision to make, and she does not get to decide whether my relationship is valid or not. She insisted on her decision and said, quote, I'll not invite him. I decided who comes and who doesn't, and since I don't think your relationship is as strong as it should be, you may break up soon, and I don't want an ex existing in my wedding pictures. Accept it or leave it. I'm not in a mood to deal with that drama. I told her she's being ridiculous, assuming that we might break up based on her bizarre beliefs, and reminded her I've been with that man for a decade, while she's been with her man for a year, and she's ridiculous for thinking she can dictate who's serious and who isn't. I told her I'm dropping the maid of honor role because I refuse to be disrespected like that, and told her she can search for someone new to torture, but not me. Our mutual friends have told me I'm an a-hole for dropping out of the wedding and how I should respect the bride's decision. I respect it, but I won't be part of it. So, am I the a-hole? Well, guys, this is a good time to bring up the term Bridezilla. I think this was totally a Bridezilla story, and I have to say, no. OP, you are not the a-hole. In fact, I'm totally surprised that OP is even going. I was so surprised, in fact, I took a look at the comments from the original thread, and I found a comment from OP replying to someone saying, I don't think I'll go after this. If I go, I'll attend for a couple hours for the sake of it, then leave. Yeah, I think I have to agree with that statement. If I was in her situation, I wouldn't want to go either. Our next story on the day is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my sister there's a reason her kids chose to live with their dad? Guys, this is a juicy one. I can't wait to get into it. Smash that like button. Here's the next story. Total throwaway. I'm a 32-year-old female and have a 14-year-old daughter named Jess. Her father and my husband died in an accident when she was young, so it's been just us two for a long time. As a result, we're very close, and she's a lot more open to me than most kids are with their parents. Around a week ago, she asked me if I could take her to the movies on a date with a guy in her class. I know the guy distantly because they've done some extracurriculars together, so I was thrilled he was my daughter's first, quote, boyfriend. I took them a few days ago, and they ended up hanging out at our house for a bit afterwards. He was extremely polite, and maybe it's just the mom inside me, but I couldn't be happier for her. I went to my older sister's house for a coffee earlier this morning. Backstory. My sister has two teenagers, 16 and 17, who live almost full-time with their father. They've had a very messy divorce around 3 years ago, and both kids choose to live with their dad. The reason for this was because my sister was extremely overbearing on them. She was the kind of mom who believed kids should have no privacy and should run their lives until they were adults. I know she had many arguments with them because she would take away their doors, not let them hang out with friends, search through their phones every night, etc. This was the primary reason for her divorce, although she won't admit it. While I love her, as someone who grew up with little privacy, I fully understand why her kids don't want to live with her. My daughter came up in conversation and so brought up her first date. When I explained how it went, my sister laughed and told me that I must be joking. When she realized I was serious, she told me I was a terrible mother for letting my daughter walk all over me and not setting boundaries. She ranted on for a while, but she basically said that 14-year-olds are incapable of going out themselves, and that I was being lazy and neglectful by allowing her to do that. She also said, quote, I would never allow my kids to do that. So I replied saying, that's exactly why your kids live with their dad. She got very quiet and then told me to leave. When I got home, I started thinking more about what I said. And while at the time, I thought I was simply telling her what she needed to hear, now I'm wondering if I crossed the line. I don't think OP's the a-hole of this story. In fact, I think his sister is the only a-hole. How can she judge him for his parenting when her kids literally don't even want to live with her? Guys, let me know if you've ever had a sibling or a parent or someone in your family try to overstep their boundaries when it comes to giving you tips on raising your children. Drop your stories in the comment section below. I love reading them. Our final story on the day is titled, Am I the a-hole for accidentally telling my fiancé I hate his sister? And she won't be a part of my wedding. This situation is literally ridiculous, but this whole thing has caused almost nuclear warfare across the family, so I'm here to get a consensus. Throwaway for privacy, even though there's a good chance my fiancé will see it. I'm a 26-year-old female and I've been with my fiancé, Chris, for 4 years now. He and his sister, Lilik, are very close. They had a pretty traumatic childhood and always promised each other that they would be there no matter what. Lilik is a good sister to him, but as a person, truthfully, I can't stand her. She's literally the definition textbook of a bubbly blonde. Overly charismatic, always giggling, and in general, just acts too immature for my taste. She likes to pull pranks every once in a while on my fiancé. And he gets her back, but the whole ordeal just seems childish and obnoxious to me. Ever since we got engaged, I knew I did not want her in my wedding party because that means I'd have to spend time with her at my bachelorette and other parties. Fast forward to last night, and my fiancé asked me when I plan on asking Lilik to be a bridesmaid. I got quiet and truthfully said I did not plan on doing so. This upset him because he said he wants his sister to be a part of the most important day of his life, and that if I did not do it, he was going to make her a groomswoman to make sure she's included. I can't lie, this set me off. I went off about how I want to feel respected by him and be able to enjoy my wedding day. He said he always wants to enjoy his day, which, to be fair, I understand. This is where I may be the a-hole. I told him that I've always disliked his sister and wish he would just not include her for once, just one time. This isn't about her. He got quiet and went into our guest room to be alone. A couple minutes later, I got a text from Lilik that she completely respects my decision to not want her in the wedding party, but she's hurt to know what I actually feel about her. I did not want her to find out all of this, and now he's told his whole family about our argument. Half of them are attacking me, and half of them are saying it's my day, so I should be able to enjoy it. Honestly, this whole ordeal is stressful for no reason, because Lilik isn't even upset. I don't want her in my wedding party, yet the whole family is upset, and my fiancé has been very short with me all day. Am I the a-hole? In a quick edit, just because I hate her personality doesn't mean I'm mean to her. Being around her drains my social battery, but I've never been mean to her, nor did I want to let her ever find out. Especially in this way. I'm just super introverted and our personalities collide. I don't want her at my bachelorette party because I want to enjoy it fully and not feel anxious the whole time because the personification of a human firecracker is attending. Okay, here's the update. I'm probably going to make this as my only update. We talked this morning. Sorry for not posting it earlier, my Wi-Fi company has been giving me issues. We still are not resolved. He doesn't just want her as a groomswoman, but wants her to ask to be the best woman. Best man, but as a woman. This is still not resolved because I'm not comfortable with that, and it's more stressful because the whole family has turned into flying monkeys. Because, well, His sister is the apple of their eye. So they took what I said as a serious attack against her. Well, the overwhelming majority of people in the original comments stated pretty firmly they think OP is the a-hole. I'll read one comment now. "You were the a-hole." Quoted from the story. "I did not want her in my wedding party because that means I'd have to spend time with her at my bachelorette and other parties. Boy, do I have some bad news about what's going to happen if you actually marry her brother and legally bind yourself to him and his family for the foreseeable future." Then the second comment replied, "Don't worry, she may be able to avoid the Lilac permanently. The fiancé is rethinking this wedding as we speak." Guys, if there's an update on this story, you will be the first to know about it. So make sure you subscribe to the channel just in case that does come out. I would love to hear your opinion on this, but I think just like the comments did, OP is absolutely the a-hole. Okay guys, that's all I have for you. Drop your thoughts down below, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.